Hello and welcome to our tutorial on transaction reconciliation in summary mode. In this video, I'm going to show you what transaction reconciliation is, how to use it, how to interpret the results, and what to do if you find any discrepancies. So, let's get started. In summary mode, transactions are first imported from your payment platforms into Synder. They are then broken down into journal lines, grouped into summaries, and sent to your accounting. So there are several steps. Transaction reconciliation helps you verify that all transactions used to build those summaries have been successfully imported. It does this by comparing the transactions captured in Synder with the data on your payment platform side. It highlights any inconsistencies, whether transactions are missing on either side or amounts don't match. This makes it easy to check data completeness before syncing summaries and to investigate any discrepancies. So let's get started with our reconciliation. And here is our matching engine. You start by selecting a date range, then integration account, and lastly, automation mode. When it comes to the date range, you can go as far back as you like, with the exception of the current date as the data is still flowing. As you can see, we have pre-selected it for you for the last calendar month, but you can change it however you like. For the Synder part, this is also already pre-selected for you, but when it comes to the integrations, you can choose whichever you like from the dropdown. Let's say I choose Stripe. Once I did that, there is the clearing account that I can also select. Here I have only one, so I choose this. Lastly is the automation mode. In Synder, we have 3 automation modes: automated, assisted, and manual. Automated mode means that Synder will automatically get the data via the API, and you don't have to upload anything. In the assisted mode, we know exactly which files you need to upload, and we list them here. So for example, for Stripe, you need 2 files, and we tell you exactly where to get them from. Once you have them, you can upload them here. For the manual mode, you need to choose which file you would like to pick, and then you need to map the column, something that you don't need to do in assisted mode. There are only 3 fields that are necessary to choose. That's the primary ID, amount, and date. And you just tell us which columns are going to be mapped to the primary ID, and so on. Once you have that, you can save it as a template, so the next time you want to reconcile this particular platform, you don't have to do the mapping again. However, we are not going to use the manual mode. What we will do instead is we will use the simplest one, which is the automated mode. We will do exactly the same over here because we already have the data, and the automated mode is recommended, though you can use the other ones if you like. And we can start matching. Here, this is when the reconciliation is in process. You can see different files are finished, normalization is happening, and here, if you're interested, you can check the matching rules. Everything will be explained as to how we do the matching so you can verify the rules. And here is our results page. As we can see, we got 0%. Even though the process is finished, the result is 0. Let's see what that means. Here we have 4 tabs: matched, discrepancy, not matched, and ignored. All our transactions ended up being in a not matched column. Here we have missing in Synder and missing in integration. What missing in Synder means? This means that these transactions have been found on the Stripe site. So through the API, Synder was able to see these transactions. However, they are missing from Synder. Missing in integration would mean that there were some transactions that were in Synder but not in the integration. That usually means that these would have been some manual journal entries and things as that. So what do we do now? This allows us to investigate and find out exactly what happened. Since they are missing in Synder, that means they didn't arrive in Synder. And the first things we do, we go to import activity log. And to get to import activity log, we're clicking summaries and then import activity log. From here, we can choose our integration and the date range. Since we wanted to reconcile April, we're putting the same date range here as well. And as we can see, there are no imports for this time, which is what we expected, as we didn't see them over there. In order to rectify it, what we need to do, it's straight from here, we can import the historical data. On your import historical data page, you just choose your starting date and proceed with the imports. Now that we've imported all the data, we can rerun our reconciliation. All we need to do is to refresh the data. Everything is already set as it was since we're using automated mode. Whatever new information is on Synder side and integration side, it's going to be updated automatically, and we just start matching. Now that we have rerun our transaction reconciliation, we can see that we have reached 100% match, which gives us a reconciled status. And if we go over here, we can see that all transactions are under the match tab, and here we have zeros. And we can see here that in Synder, we have, for example, this payment and expense that corresponds to this particular charge on the Stripe side. Just to let you know here about those two tabs that we still have, discrepancies. These ones, it's empty, but if it wasn't, it would mean that Synder understands that there are two transactions, that the ID is matching, so we know it's a one and the same transaction, but the totals between Synder and the integration produces a delta. That means there is some kind of difference. And ignore tab is those ones that we would manually ignore inside this transaction reconciliation, that we know where these transactions came from, we understand, and we don't want it to affect the reconciliation there. You can ignore it. Also, you can export the results using any of these exports. In our scenario, we just need to wait for the summaries to be formed and they are ready to be synced. And in situations when there were only few transactions missing, or maybe there were some discrepancies, the summaries might have already been formed. They would give you an alert whether something is wrong or if transactions were missing. But if the summaries are formed already, what you need to do is to rebuild them after you have confirmed that all the data is in Synder and it is correct. And then they are ready for syncing. And that is how you use transaction reconciliation in Synder for summary mode. Thank you for watching.